What if the best mid-1980s pop hits had a baby? And what if it was an album that you probably never heard of? Well, I hadn't at any rate. I'm talking about an album I discovered thanks to my subscriber Hurricane Balance. Balance. Rick Springfield Tao. And as she requested, I'm going to review it. Hello top patters and newcomers. This is Simon Mas, your friend with a master degree in music, who is apparently taking your orders.
I'll have a couple eggs and couple egg sausage.
I got to admit I was a bit skeptical, but you wouldn't be watching this review if I didn't find Tao worth of your attention. So what's the story here? What's there to love?
Cheeseburger?
Now, this wouldn't be my channel if I didn't give you a bit of background on the artist and the music, right? And besides, if you just want a review, use them chapters below. Anyhow, Rick Springfield, Australian-American musician, actor, born in 1949. 1949? Bloody hell, he's 2 years younger than my mum. Released in 1985, Tao was Springfield's 10th album, coming after a string of chart hits and a flawed film with a decently successful soundtrack. These sketchy details already give you a taste of the whole picture. We're talking about a mature artist. At 36, Springfield was no kid. He had experience and hits, and he knew his songwriting. In fact, his successes granted him a place in the original 1985 Live Aid lineup, playing in Philadelphia after Black Sabbath and Run DMC, and with the longer slot. And yet, Springfield wasn't basking in the sun when he wrote Tao. He was actually suffering from a major depression that resulted in a 3-year stop soon after that Philly appearance. A depression that had deep roots. For a start, success wasn't as nice as Rick had expected. Having money when everyone around him struggled to make ends meet made him feel bad and uneasy. A bit like what had happened to Bruce Springsteen 2 years before that, as I told you in the video linked in the description. But Rick also had problems coming to terms with the death of his father, a source of both psychological and spiritual issues. Springfield decided to channel these bad feelings into his lyrics for the album, The Darkest of My Career. He says, and yet there's plenty of excitement in Tao. Shall we talk about it? Like I jokingly implied in the introduction, Tao is a solid example of good mid-1980s pop music. Dance This World Away kicks off the affair with what seems like a catalogue of that era's musical stereotypes. It's so 1980s that it almost makes me laugh. The urban jungle synths opening the track, the massive gated reverb drums, the madly high gain but clean guitar sound, the slick pop delivery of the lyrics, with the real urgency of someone describing a word going down the flush, and with the hopefulness of a time when change was well easier than it is these days. And that's why Dance This World Away almost makes me cry too. Despite being written by a boomer, the song describes what I regard as the biggest sin of us Gen Xers. Looking out for number one while telling ourselves that even if our parents didn't really get how bad the situation was, well, they were our parents. Even if they didn't know best, what could you do? We were just kids. Better turn it up and make it drown out a warning without thinking too much. Perhaps things would sort themselves out. Other highlights from the record are Walk Like a Man. A straight pop song that gets glorious when the chorus hits. The kind of tune you want blasting from your stereo while you're driving on the autoroute to run away from your problems on a late Friday afternoon. Or Stranger in the House. Great way to set the lyrics to music with the words a bit rushed, reflecting their meaning, and with a certain tension building up through verses and pre-choruses before a rewarding harmonic shift when we do get to the chorus. Or, why not, the Tao of Heaven. With its talk in oriental-sounding riddles, it's another interesting 1980s memorabilia. A little piece that attempts to say something deep and meaningful in a concise and artsy way. Madonna's Act of Contrition or Prince's Ronnie Talk to Russia are other examples of this kind of song that come to mind. Depending on your taste, you might call these songs cringy platitudes that trivialize a difficult topic, or a tiny attempt at touching philosophical basis in a society obsessed with material hedonism, or the last non-cynical, non-ironical stand to show that a pop production could have a higher artistic voice too. The best moments in Tao have Springfield sacrificing the edge of studio experimentations to give us a ripe 1980s pop sound built with expertise and authority. It wouldn't be long before this kind of production turned stale, banal, laughable, and boring. But unfortunately, Tao has flaws too, and maddening ones at that, because they were completely avoidable. Look, I had a long, detailed list of examples, but this being the internet, you'll prefer quick, bold statements, right? So, here's the theory. This album would have been better if Springfield hadn't tried to meet the expectations of what pop songs should do. And if you can spot the irony here, drop me a line in the comment section to tell me what it is. Back to Tao. There are solos badly truncated because they must fit the song's 8-bar sections. Even if the song slows down and you really want a solo that could breathe and develop for much longer. Yo Rick, how about giving it some time? Nah, screw that. A solo must be less than 15 seconds or you're facing the pop military police. Choruses must be repeated over and over and over and over and over at the end of the song, even if this pays diminishing returns when the song actually ends. Like in here. Or in here. Anyway, such a level of repetition is always overkill or lazy. Over the course of Tao, it happens in 6 of the 10 songs. And you could argue that for another 2 tracks, we're facing the same technique, just disguised a tiny bit better. The arrangements generally work well, but they haven't aged that gracefully. There's this tendency to have fireworks happening every time you can fit them in. It kind of makes sense in context. It does help adding variation to the stale finales, but it also dates the music quite a bit. Working on looser song structures free from rigid pop norms would have helped creating a bona fide masterpiece. Rick Springfield had enough inventiveness and skills to deliver interesting music, and it's a pity that he couldn't or wouldn't choose to follow different approaches more often on Tao. Before I leave you with the usual call to action, write me a comment with your thoughts on the album. Share this video with your friends and enemies. Get more music and insights by subscribing to my Telegram channel. Well, let me tell you what else you can listen to if you like Tao. You could give a spin to the Politics of Dancing, Reflex's first and only album before their vault was opened a few years back. Or you could sail safely into Michael Jackson's Thriller for some good old 1980s American pop tunes. Or why not taking a left turn and get into Sign of the Times by Prince? Granted, it doesn't sound anything like Tao, but this is another pop explosion conceived at a hard time for its artist. I think that's enough for now. I could have mentioned Empires and Dance by Simple Minds, but hey, no time for that, right? This, my dear Top Hatters, was your Simon Mas. Support the channel any way you want and stick around for more music-related videos. For the moment, stay cool and keep your top hat on. Bye!